hey, look, like we're meeting with the other agent more out of a sense of obligation. And the other track is we really haven't decided 100% that we want to work with you.
Right.
And we genuinely want to hear what the other agent has to say. So let's go down the first track.
And I appreciate that. I really do. I guess I'm curious because it sounds like you've already made a decision that you would like for me to help. Just so I'm clear, what caused you to come to that conclusion?
Well, we really like you. Obviously, you came highly recommended. We've read your reviews online. And obviously, I think the most important thing we feel.
Yeah, I appreciate your willingness to share. I feel equally as comfortable with you. And it sounds like you're beginning to see why people like you hire me all the time for the job. What I'm aware of is it happens frequently. It happens all the time. In order to get our professional relationship started off right, my suggestion would be is that we go ahead and take care of the appropriate paperwork today so we can get all that process started. That would allow me to begin to, get all the marketing in place, get the photographer lined up, because I know you mentioned that the goal and objective is to be sold by a specific time, and we want to make sure we meet that time frame for you. And then what I can do on your behalf is I could just reach out to that other agent, let them know that you've decided to hire us for the job. What we'll do is we'll provide them an opportunity to bring us a buyer. And if they do, we'll even, maybe give them a bonus or something like that. And at least this way you're preserving some of your time. You don't have to sit and listen to somebody knowing that you're already going to hire somebody else. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay, great. So seems like we're in total agreement. So we'll just go ahead and take care of the appropriate paperwork, and then I'll get contact information for the agent. I'll reach out to them on my way home, okay?
Okay. What I'm thinking about is repeating and approving as well too. Okay, so after you said, hey, what made you come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, obviously we like you, this and that. Repeating and approving. Well, it sounds like you've already decided that, like, hey, look, I'm the right agent. And it sounds like really the only purpose of maybe wanting to meet with the other agent is more of a sense of obligation, because obviously you told them that you would meet with them. Is that correct? Okay. Can I make a recommendation?
Sure.
What if I told you that the agent would appreciate more if we called them to cancel that appointment than to meet with them when you've already decided that you want to work with another agent?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Can I share with you why that agent would appreciate it more?
Sure.
Okay. That agent, to meet the appointment with you tomorrow, they're going to spend at least an hour time preparing for the appointment. Depending on where they're coming from, they're going to drive another 30 minutes. They're going to meet with you for another hour to maybe hour and a half. And then they're going to drive back for 30 minutes and maybe like another 30 minutes to an hour on miscellaneous. If you add that all up, they're really investing about 3 to 5 hours that we could actually save them. If we actually care about that agent, and if we actually want to help out that agent, it's almost easier if we just cancel their appointment, and then they'll actually appreciate it a lot more. I know that I would. Like, if somebody called me letting me know, hey, look, they've already decided to go in a different direction, I would rather save that 3 to 5 hours of time and obviously spend it on somebody that's still open to the opportunity. So here's what I would recommend. Obviously, I'm ready to go to work for you. I appreciate everything about this house. I know I can get it sold. My question to you is, would you give me the opportunity to work with you?
Sure.
Great. So if it's okay with you, I have all the paperwork with me. I'll explain it to you. This will allow us to start coordinating the photographer, the cleaning lady, the gardener. And then what I'll do is, on my way home, I'll actually call that agent for you and let them know that you've decided to work with me. And I'll let them know that if they bring us a buyer, we'll pay them a bonus on that. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Fantastic. Okay. So let me fill this out and let me explain it to you. And then, that'll allow us to get everything going.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah, we're just like systematically walking them down. I think the important part is having a willingness to have this conversation, because I think it stops so many people when they hear that. It's just like this insurmountable roadblock, and they don't know where to go once it comes up. And our intention here is to give you different tracks on how to take it. Now, the second track would be like, we haven't.
Let's backtrack a little bit. What did you think about the hey, if you actually care about the agent, we're actually saving them time?
Yeah, so I would be like I would just be mindful about that language. Like, if you care, because that's making the assumption as though like you don't.
Yeah.
So it's like, my professional experience is it actually is super helpful to that agent if you call ahead of time. Can I explain to you what I mean? Well, yeah. Well,
Sure.
being that you've already made a decision and you feel comfortable and confident, sounds like you're only meeting with them out of obligation, and they're probably going to spend 3 to 5 hours in preparation and travel to come over, only to hear that you decided to hire somebody else. So I guess I'm curious, like if you were an agent, which would you prefer? Would you prefer somebody just call you ahead of time and let you know, or kind of spend 3 to 5 hours only to be told afterwards that they're just going to go with somebody else? And they'll be like, yeah, I'd probably prefer that. I'm like, yeah. And just by you saying that demonstrates that you're beginning to realize that, really the best way to, let that agent know is to let them know right away, because you're actually saving them a lot of time.
Yeah. Now, the other way that that obligation could go too is if it's a friend, that
Yeah.
they're meeting with a friend for a sense of obligation. And we want to tackle that as well too, because that's a little bit of a different path as well too. But it goes down to like, hey, look, like, are you meeting with them more out of a sense of like, hey, look, I already set the appointment up and I almost feel like a sense of obligation, as opposed to, or have you already decided that you want to work with me? No, I'm meeting with them more for a sense of obligation. Can I make a recommendation to you? What if I told you that by meeting with them, it's actually going to make it harder for us to move forward together?
What do you mean?
Well, here's what I've noticed. Obviously, you have a relationship with this other person. Obviously, I imagine that there's a sense of like a little bit like, hey, look, like I want to try to help them out. Oftentimes, what happens during these appointments is that um, the other agent will say, will
I know what you want to say.
yeah.
Like, it's like,
What I notice is it causes internal conflict when they meet with them,
yeah.
like because now they're like, hey, look, I've got this other direction that I
Yeah.
really
So something that you could say instead is like, well, can I share with you what would concern me for you and your family if you
you
chose
ended
that
up,
approach?
yeah,
And they're like, what do you mean? Well, I'm aware that from a kind of, personal perspective, personal relationships are different than business relationships, right? There's a saying in our culture. I don't know if you've ever heard it before, but I'm sure you have. You have to be very mindful about doing business with friends or family. Have you ever heard that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. And why do you think people say that?
Well, I think they say that just because if things go wrong, it just kind of puts you in a uncomfortable position.
That's exactly right. And if for some reason they're not kind of delivering the service in the way that you like, it could end up affecting the relationship. And it sounds like this relationship is really important to you. Yes.
It is 100%.
Yeah. So, my professional experience is it's actually would serve the relationship at a highest level if you had a third party who you have no problem telling that they're not executing the way that you want versus having a friend and
Yeah.
jeopardizing that relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now tell me this, what if there was a way that we could create a win-win proposition for you to get the service and results that you want from a professional perspective, and also, doing your best to preserve that personal relationship? Is that something you'd be open to?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I just kind of feel obligated to my friend, and I'm afraid that they'll be offended if I don't have them participate in some way. So, in an effort to help you to accomplish that goal and objective, to get the results that you're after, and do your best to preserve that relationship, what we can do is this: is we can go ahead and take care of the appropriate paperwork today. Then, what I can do is I can offer a referral fee to your friend. So, meaning that they will be able to be compensated in terms of the transaction, truthfully, for not having to do that much. And in this way, you've reconciled those two challenges that you have, which is preserving the relationship and then wanting to get the results and the service that you're after from a professional who has the track record that you're looking for. I'm curious, is that something you would be open to?
Yeah, but here's what I want to do, Aaron. Let me talk to my friend before I sign anything, and I think this is the direction that I want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is good. So it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I understand like the desire to do that. I really do. Um, can I share with you my personal experience having helped a lot of homeowners like yourself with friends or family that have real estate licenses if they do decide to talk to them first?
Sure.
Yeah, my experience is that it ends up creating a dynamic where you feel kind of this like emotional arbitrage, and it's really, really uncomfortable to tell them kind of what's really true for you and what you're really after because they are such a close friend. And it's not uncommon that I've seen homeowners end up hiring their friend out of a sense of obligation or kind of emotional reasons. And then unfortunately, like it either affects the relationship or they don't end up getting the outcome that they're actually after. Now, tell me this, like, how important is this move for you and your, because whatever you decide to do, I'll support you 100%. How important is this move for you and your family?
It's very important.
Okay. Is it an option for you to not sell the home and still move?
No, we have to do that.
Is it an option for you to rent the home and still move?
No.
What would happen on the outside chance if you were here, I don't know, 120, 180 days from now and the home wasn't sold? What would that mean for you and your family?
It wouldn't be good.
It wouldn't be good. So it sounds like with a decision that is this important, right? You have a choice to make. You can either make it from a very kind of practical perspective and make a business decision, or you can kind of do your friend a favor. I guess for you personally, with how important is this move is to you and really what's on the line, like, what do you think we should do?
So I think that this is the one where I was like having trouble like
Articulating.
articulating. And it was more or less like you get done with that path and it's like, hey, look, let me talk to that agent or let me talk to my friend before I actually sign up with you.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, the thoughts that were going through my head as you were saying that is, can I make a recommendation to you? Okay, so I'm not saying that this is the case here, but here's what I typically see when that happens. A lot of times when homeowners go back to their friend and they tell them that they've decided to go work with another agent, if you haven't signed anything, because they're going to ask you if you've signed something or not. If they find out that you haven't signed anything, they're going to almost say like, hey, look, like I've been your best friend for a really long time. Like, how could you do this? Like, I've done maybe this favor for you, or maybe I've done that favor. And what it does, because you've already decided that you want to work with a different agent, is it causes this dynamic where it causes a lot of internal conflict. Like on one end, you want to help out your friend. And then on the other end, you know that professionally you want to go in a different direction. So what I've seen oftentimes is a lot more helpful in these situations is instead of going back to your friend and saying, hey, look, I've decided, but I haven't signed something with an agent. I decided to go with a different agent, is instead if we go back to them with this and we say, hey, look, like, I really appreciate your friendship. Unfortunately, I've already signed a contract with a different agent. However, this is what the agent came up with. The agent came up with, if you bring a buyer for the transaction, he's actually going to pay you a bonus on the deal. And what this does, he's actually going to pay you a bonus on the deal. So if you have any questions about that, reach out to this agent. And I find that if we go back to them saying, hey, I've already signed something, they can't give you the guilt trip, because after you've already signed something, they won't be able to, as opposed to if you go back to them and say, hey, I haven't signed anything.
So it's no different than when agents say to me, I have to talk to my broker first.
Yeah. It's basically the same exact thing.
Same thing. So what I'll say there is like, yeah, I appreciate that. And then just so I'm clear, have you already made the decision that this platform, this proximity, the value stack, that it would serve you and help you to grow and accomplish your goals and objectives in the real estate space? Yes. Okay. So being that you've already made that decision, may I make a suggestion in terms of order of operations? Yes. Well, in order to alleviate pressure from you and from them, right? Because when you go and tell them this, they are going to give you, with a high degree of probability, I'm not suggesting this is definitely true, but more likely than not, they're going to give you all the reasons why that's not a good idea, right? Because people usually don't want what's best for you. They want the version of you that serves you best, serves them best, right? So they'll usually give you all the reasons why it doesn't make sense, maybe try to convince you to stay in some way by throwing stuff at you, perhaps even some money. So in order to alleviate that pressure, I find that in terms of order of operations, what serves agents best is that we'll send you the application, you fill it out. Okay. Nothing happens. Nobody gets notified. And in doing so, you've initiated that process. EXP takes 24 to 48 hours to check your license. Then we have a green light where you can just, transfer your license over. And then you go to them and you have the following conversation. Hey, I just wanted to let you know this is a professional courtesy. I've already decided this. I've already initiated it. So my intention in coming to you is not to try to kind of ask you for permission or perhaps negotiate with you to try to give me a better deal. I've made this decision because I think it makes sense for me and my family and my business moving forward. I hope you can respect that. My intention is to maintain a professional relationship, and I look forward to the opportunity to working with you in the future. And that's it. And this is really no different, right? So when somebody says to you, like, talk about, okay, and just so I'm clear, as Jose was saying earlier, so just so I'm clear, because I want you to make the decision that you feel is best. And whatever you decide, I'll support you 100%. Have you made a decision based on our initial conversation, based on our time spent together, checking out track record reviews and stuff? Like, do you feel comfortable and confident with me that I can help you sell the home? Well, yeah,
Yes,
we
sir.
do. Okay. And so is it that you want to talk to your friend because you just feel kind of like emotionally obligated to do so? Or are you actually like seriously considering hiring them for the job? And they're like, I kind of feel like obligated. Like, okay. And I understand that. And I appreciate that. And then we try to close that. And they're like, I just want to talk to him first. It's like, yeah, listen, I understand. Now, being that you've already made the decision that you would like to hire me for the job, can I share with you kind of procedurally a process that would actually alleviate a lot of stress from you and from them? And they're like, yeah, what do you mean? Well, obviously, because human nature is human nature, right? And obviously, when you go to them and you say to them, I'm selling my house and I've chosen somebody else, they're going to probably give you all the reasons why you should have hired them, right? And that creates stress for you. It's uncomfortable. It's a little awkward, right? So being that you've already made the decision, and we have this happen all the time with clients because everybody has a real estate license, right? Is we go ahead and take care of the appropriate paperwork today. Then what you do is you go to your friend and you let them know, hey, I've already made this decision. I've already authorized a listing agreement, right? My hope is that this won't affect our kind of personal relationship because I care about our personal relationship more than I do the business relationship. Now, the agent was kind enough to share that if you did bring a buyer, he will pay you a bonus. And he's also even open to providing you a referral fee on the listing side. That's if we've agreed to that, right? Which will allow you to be able to, participate. And that's my way of really kind of, doing my best to maintain, our relationship. My hope, my desire would be is that it wouldn't affect it at all. But I made this decision because I really thought it was the best business decision to make. And then that's it. And that alleviates the pressure from you and it alleviates from them. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
And they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so with that being said, I have the appropriate documentation with me. And we could just go ahead and take care of that and then we'll take the next steps. And I'm like, okay.